The 6-year-old Google Pixel 2. How good is it in 2024? When we look at the build quality, it had a pretty interesting build. Google says that the back is made from aluminium, but they put a coating of plastic on top of it. And the top portion of the phone is glass. Also, the standard Pixel 2 had an interesting camera layout. It had the flash all the way on the left, and then right next to it was the camera, but that isn't the case with the Pixel 2 XL. Also, the Pixel 2 XL had much thinner bezels and a curve around the sides of the screen, but the standard Pixel 2 screen is flat. The dual-tone design with the plastic and glass is something that you don't see anymore on the newer Pixels, but I like how it looks. And there's also a fingerprint sensor on the back, which is a very nice placement in my opinion. The fingerprint sensor is so fast, accurate and reliable, so that's definitely a thing that I really like. And I prefer it over the in-screen fingerprint sensors of the newer Pixels. This is also the first Google Pixel without a headphone jack, so that's disappointing. And also, when you look at the front, you can see that it has a lot of big bezels, but once you are using the phone, you aren't focused on the bezels that much. But when you compare it to newer phones, it definitely looks outdated, and even for 2017 standards, the bezels were big. But when we look at the screen of the Pixel 2, it looks really nice in my opinion. It is a 5-inch 1080p screen with a 16:9 aspect ratio. It has good colors, and the screen can go bright, but not extremely bright when you are outdoors. So when there's a lot of light outside, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to see the screen. It's also of course a 60Hz panel, but for me that isn't an issue at all. This phone had a Snapdragon 835, 4GB of RAM, and the option for 64 or 128GB of storage. It also has a 12.2 megapixel camera on the back that could shoot 4K video and an 8 megapixel camera on the front. It's also shipped with Android 8, however it is now on Android 11, but the update support has stopped, so it won't get any more updates. The battery life on my model isn't that good. I can get through half a day, but not much more than that, and that's because it's a 6-year-old phone and batteries degrade over time. So for my model I always need to carry a power bank. Also, it has dual front-facing speakers, and they sound pretty good. They are definitely not amazing, but definitely not bad either, but they aren't perfectly balanced, so the bottom speaker has more bass than the top speaker. The only port that this phone has is the USB-C port, and the charging speed is pretty decent, but it's nothing amazing. Also, this phone doesn't have wireless charging. Also, you get unlimited photo and video backup onto Google Photos with this phone. It is in reduced quality, but it's still an amazing feature to have. You just take your photos, and then when you're at a Wi-Fi network, they will automatically get backed up to the cloud onto your Google Photos account. The camera on this phone is definitely one of the biggest highlights. It doesn't sound impressive with only 12.2 megapixels and a single lens, however it can capture some really nice images. The Google camera software really works great and can capture a lot of dynamic range. I've been using Google Pixel phones for the last few years as my main phone, and I've been able to capture a lot of nice images with them. You can see they have a lot of dynamic range, but they also just look good, with good contrast, good dynamic range and nice colors. Also, after an update it got night sight support, so you can take nice photos in low light, and it was one of the best low light cameras for that time. However, not with low light video and video in general. It's definitely not bad, but it's also nothing amazing. The detail is decent and colors look nice, and the stabilization in video mode is really nice. However, sometimes it likes to pick up a lot of noise, dynamic range isn't the best, but overall the video quality is good, just nothing amazing. When we take a look at the speed and performance of this device, it's decent. It still feels pretty fast even for doing basic stuff like checking your email, internet browsing, opening apps and switching between them. Of course it's an older phone, so don't expect the best flagship performance. It's not meant for gaming. However, I think for day-to-day stuff it's still pretty fast. Also, this phone runs on Android 11 and most apps still work on that version and get regular updates. However, keep in mind that you don't get any Android updates anymore, so no security updates. Sometimes the phone feels a little bit buggy, but it's not terrible at all, especially for a phone that's 6 years old. So should you buy one in 2024? I feel like it is a bit of an old device, so I won't recommend it, also because it hasn't had any security updates in a while. If you spend a little bit more money, you are probably able to pick up a Pixel 4a, which will have a newer version of Android and later security updates. Also, the battery life of the Pixel 2 isn't good. But just because it doesn't have any security updates doesn't mean that you can't use it. What do you think of the Pixel 2? Let me know in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching.